I didn't know any different. I was raised by a deaf mother. There was just no avenue. And then that's when I found mixed martial art. I saw people fight on the TV and I was like, I think I can do that. He goes, bop, 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 bop. That point in time in my life when my stepdad was being abusive, it made me mentally tough. I feel like in mixed martial arts, we always have a chip on our shoulder. We always have something to prove. Then I had that beautiful knockout when I hit that flying knee. But then when people look at it as an aspect of like, who's the better fighter? Yeah, 1000%, I'm a way better fighter. My skill set's way better.
Was it difficult, your stint as champion of the UFC, feeling like you were not respected?
That's what the UFC does. They'll cut people who are way better. Oh, this guy got hurt. I don't give a They were waiting for me to lose.
Did you sell yourself enough? Because you can get in the ring and whoop somebody's ass.
When I look back on my career, should I have talked more? They're like, dude, you mistreated this guy.
What did fatherhood teach you about yourself?
That's probably the biggest struggle I have as a father.
Do you truly consider yourself as part of the top 4 or 5 fighters that's ever fought in the UFC?
With social media, with all the distractions, that was the biggest pivot.
Hold up, limitless, take a stomach, got a pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On this vision I can trust. Trust, limitless, take a stomach, got a pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant.
Careful now, you see, I go there.
You see the hand?
You see there?
We not gonna help.
You go
Sit
there and
down.
I do this, you go like that. Okay. I'm gonna go here and throw it into the liver. You see that? How's it going?
Don't worry.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, man.
We wasn't
I got your
gonna
back.
help.
I got your back, but I was worried about you when I saw that hand go up.
Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson on the Mount Rushmore top 5 of mixed martial artists of all time, in my opinion. This is Channing Crowder, this is Fred Taylor, and Ryan Clark. Pivot fam, thank y'all for pivoting with us. Man, I'm excited about this. I am a huge mixed martial arts fan, just a big fan of yours and what you were able to accomplish, but also the way you did it and the person you were during some of the things you went through. I want to ask this question, and we'll get into your story. But just to start it off, how have you found so much joy with what you went through as a young man, and then even some of the adversities you faced as an adult, especially in your career and what I felt some of the mistreatment that you received?
First off, thanks for having me. Big fan of the show. I think, the journey as a child, I guess you can say, I didn't know any different. I was raised by a deaf mother, had my brother, and then I didn't find out we had a sister until I was maybe 12 years old. And then when I finally met my sister, we're just hanging out in the house, and my sister goes, you know mom's deaf, right? I was like, what the hell you mean she's deaf? She goes, she's deaf. And I'm like, Mom, you deaf? And she goes, yeah, been deaf my whole life. I'm like, that does not make any sense. She goes, well, think about it. Each time I tell you guys to, when you talk to somebody, you look them in the face, right? So I can read your lips. Or if I'm in the bathroom and I need toilet paper, it's, Mom! She'll feel the vibrations through the house. And so at that time, at that age, that's when I found out my mom was deaf, and I had a sister. Then a couple years later, I found out I had another brother. And so I didn't know any different. And then when I met my wife, it was kind of like, this is what family does, right? Because, I don't put blame on my mom or anything, but it's almost like, how was she raised, essentially? Going through school, I excelled in sports, played football, basketball, track, wrestled, cross country. And then after I got out of high school, I was kind of like, okay, well, what do I want to do? There's no professional wrestling. I can't play football. I'm 5'3", butt naked, soaking wet. I'm probably like 130 pounds, right? So there was just no avenue. And then that's when I found mixed martial arts. I was going to college. I saw, people fight on the TV, and I was like, I think I can do that. Went to the gym, started training. Next thing you know, I had my first amateur fight. I was working full time at Red Lobster, worked at Taco Bell, worked pretty much every single job you could think of. And then eventually, started fighting and winning, and then went to Alaska. Just up from there.
You dust over. Like RC talked about your upbringing, and you can read it, you can see how it was. But it had to do something to you. It had to make you who you are.
Yeah, 1000%. So being raised by a deaf mother, not having a father figure, going to my stepdad's house every single weekend while my mom went to the club. She was so focused on going to the club, in Fort Lewis, in Washington State was Fort Lewis. She'd go to the commissary and go to the PX and go to the club. And then we would go to my stepfather's house, and he was very abusive. And, he would just do, stupid shit, in my opinion, where it's like, don't wake up and watch Godzilla before I get up. And I'm like, okay. me and my brother, we want to watch Godzilla. We get up, watch Godzilla. He'll come over us. We'll feel like this big presence behind us. And he'll be like, didn't I tell you guys have to get up before I not watch TV? Be like, yeah, get your ass in the corner. Get your arms up. Look at that wall. Don't do anything until I come out. And we'd just sit there for hours. It felt like hours, right? Just that was his form of punishment. Obviously abusive, like, hitting, spanking, all that stuff. It was kind of crazy because, being an adult now, never with my kids, not once. I wish I did, just so I can have some respect, but.
We call it a pow-pow. We call it a pow-pow. Just a little pow-pow.
Yeah, but never with them. We want to talk to them. We want to, teach them how to have a conversation, right? Like, what you did was wrong. Like, me and my wife are on a trip right now, and they're homeschooled. We call my oldest, like, you're 12 years old, man. Like, why aren't you doing school? You spent 4 hours on Roblox. You spent 2 minutes on fucking school. Please make that make sense. It don't make sense. Yeah. I want to have a conversation with him. That way when he gets older, he can have the conversation with his children and then so forth and have a conversation with his wife. So, but I felt that point in time in my life when my stepdad was being abusive, it made me mentally tough. Like, it truly did. So when I would wrestle, nobody was gonna beat me. When I would play football, I would, do well in football. When I did cross country, I was like, I'm gonna be the first motherfucker in that woods. I'm gonna be the first one out of it, right? Because I wasn't gonna get beat. And then it just transferred over in my life. And when I got into mixed martial arts, it was the same thing. Like, yeah. I was so mentally tough. And that's what my coach saw. He was like, you're athletic, you're mentally tough, and you have a very high IQ when it comes to figuring out puzzles and situations. Mm.
You didn't meet your biological father until in your 30s.
Yeah.
What was that moment like, and what did that do to reshape your sense of self?
It's kind of crazy because growing up, you think your dad was this criminal, this bad guy, because my mom was painted it out that he was cheating on me, he did X, Y, and Z, and he just kind of just disappeared. And so we had our second child, and he didn't look like me and my wife. We were like, what's going on here? Okay, you are a mix, but what's going on? Not like that, but he didn't look like us. And so, and he had thalassemia, and that's pretty much a blood disorder where it's almost like you're kind of just sluggish, you're not really uppity, like the first one, Tyron. And so my wife, Destiny, she was like, we need to figure out your dad's medical history. Like, we need that information because it's vital, right? If he does have thalassemia, we need to know where it could have came from. And so I went to my mom, I was like, hey, I need to know, like, where's my dad? Like, what do you have of him? She goes, I ain't got nothing, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, whatever. So one day I was training at the gym, this guy got hurt, he injured his rib. And I'm over there, I said, hey, it's okay, just relax. And then this other guy came over, and he's like, it's okay, I deal with medical stuff, you're good. And then me and him just started talking while this guy's shit just busted open. And then next thing you know, we started training together, and I was just talking to him about my dad. I was like, yeah, I don't know my dad, it'd be kind of cool to meet him. And then next day we came to training, he goes, hey, I lied. He goes, I don't work in the medical field. I find people. And I was like, huh. And he goes, and I also assess threats. So let's say Ryan Clark's gonna come to the Super Bowl, you hire his company, and they'll assess the threat level of is there a hit out on Ryan Clark in Super Bowl, right? Oh. And then they'll be like, okay, we think it's not safe for you to come to San Francisco. So he was like, hey, give me a name, I'll find him. Give him a name. He goes, now, let me ask you a question. Do you want me to, if he's dead, do you want me to tell you? And I was like, yeah, tell me. Like, I'm 30 years old. If he's dead, it is what it is. He kept on searching. He was like, he doesn't want to be found. Like, I can't find him. Finally went to my mom, was like, you got something. Don't lie to me, you got something. She goes, here's your social security number, right? So she had it this whole time. Gave it to the bloodhound. He finds him, gives me this whole report of him. Like, okay, your dad was here in Fort Lewis, he was in Germany, he went to Korea, and then here's his number. Wow. I was like, okay, all right. I think she was on a trip with the girls, and my memory, I think I had the boys with me, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna call him. And I called him, and he goes, hello, and I was like, hey, does the name Karen Crow ring a bell at all? And he goes, honestly, I can't say that it does. And I was like, well, this might sound weird. I'm your son. And he goes, okay. I'm in the middle of a business meeting. You mind if I call you back? And I was like, oh, business motherfucker. Okay, all right, yeah. Call me back. Right? That's what, I didn't say that, but that's kind of what I was always in a business meeting. I was like, okay, that's kind of right. You don't know what you're gonna get. Yeah. But you just never know what you're gonna get. So he ended up calling me back, and we talked it out. And he goes, "You want the truth, or you want the fake story?" And I was like, "Man, just tell me the truth. I just want to know what happened." He told me what happened, and everything he said kind of panned out. Because when you're in the military, it kind of tells you where you're stationed at, when you went there, where your orders, and everything he said was legit. And he was like, "Hey, we'll take this however way you want to do it. Like, we go nice and slow, I'll let you steer the boat." And then, fast forward, it's been the best relationship ever. Like,
really?
Oh my God, it's amazing. He comes from a background, he's English and Black, and he grew up in England from, I think it was 1 all the way till he was 18, joined the military. He was a performer over in England. He used to, rollerblade. I forgot what the damn group is called, but amazing. He just has this mindset. He was like, he's lost his wife, and I have 2 twin brothers from his side, and he's just amazing.
When you have such a hectic upbringing,
Yeah.
like you had, the lack of structure, the lack of stability, it's difficult to trust people.
Oh yeah.
When you grow up that way, how were you able to trust that he would be a man of his word when he's like, we could take this however you want to take it, to build a relationship that y'all have?
That's a good one. You know what? Just trust, faith, honestly. Like, I felt there was nothing, I was so established. I had my 2 children, a successful career, mixed martial arts. I was happily married. So the only thing that could happen is that he's just gonna bring more wealth to my family. My kids, they don't have my side of the family ethnicity of, a Black grandpa, right? Like, he came and watched when we went on a trip. He was driving around and he goes, "Oh, we don't eat here." He goes, "Your Black ass does today. Like, come on, let's go." Like, just that side of, like, more of you get your Black ass out. Like, just that, that's kind of what I grew up with, right? And so it's good taste of my culture, what I was raised in. And he's just been cool. Like, you just have to trust him, right? Like, I think when you have, like, you're on defense all the time, sometimes it's okay to let your guard down. And, if he was to act out and anything like that, I'll just like, "Okay, just cut him off," right? And he's respecting me, and it's not like I was a child coming to him. Yeah. It was like a successful adult who's raised children coming together, and now it's like, it was weird calling him dad. I was like, "Mike, Pops, hey dad." Now it's like, "Dad, like, what are you doing?" And
That's cool though, man. Like that sort of progression, but to hear you say that he was with your children as you guys went away, it's like, yeah, you gained a father, but your kid's got a grandparent.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And having both of my parents still alive in such huge parts of my children's lives, I know just watching them sometimes, I feel so grateful that they got that relationship and that experience, man. So I love that your children are benefiting from it as well.
When was the Google me bitch moment though?
oh man.
Because you meet him,
Yeah.
like you meet him, you call him, he's just talking to dude on the line, and then, but you gotta be like,
Yeah, I was like,
I'm me, like I'm him.
Yeah, I told him, he was like, "So what about you?" It's very uncomfortable. I'm very humble. I'm very, I'm an introvert, but I'm kind of shy a little bit. And so I told him, I was like, he goes, "So what's your story?" I was like, "Just Google me." I was like, "Just Google me, call me
told
back."
him that?
I just told him that. I was like, "Just Google me, call me back." And he Googled me, goes, "Okay, all right, so how the fuck does somebody like you get to this point?" I told him, I was like, "Well, I mean, not," because people, when you look at it, it's like, and I feel like in mixed martial arts, we always have a chip on our shoulder. We always have something to prove. That's what makes us, I think, that type of athlete. Not saying that NFL players or basketball players don't have that same thing, but it does take something different. It's like, okay, I gotta cut 8.5 pounds within 24 hours, jump on a scale, rehydrate, and fight somebody. Yeah, I'm gonna do it, because you ain't taking my money. I think it just does something crazy to you. So when I told him that, he was just mind blown, because he was like, "I would have never thought somebody coming from your situation would be able to achieve what you have achieved." Yeah. And so when I said that, yeah, I didn't feel bad. And the thing I love about my dad is that he watches all my content, right? So when he saw that, he goes, "Your Black ass did tell me to Google you," right? Like, so it wasn't like I was like throwing like fake shit out there. I told him, I was like, "Just Google me," right? And how do I say that? Like, okay, so my name is Demetrious Johnson. I'm one of the best fighters in the world. I just felt that was easier just to let him know.
Honestly, too, though, if you tell the truth about who you became, it sounds like bragging.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it would sound arrogant. You know, it'd be like, "Hey, like, I've been fighting. This is my record. I was the champion in UFC. I became champion." Like, if you tell somebody that, I'd be like, "All right, bro. All right, I get it. Like, God, leave." Like,
my buddy says you don't brag about your own stats. You don't tell your own stats. You let somebody else around you do it. So when I travel, people are like, "Oh man," like I'll be shaking hands and they're like, "Oh man, you famous?" I was like, "Nah, I work for NASA. I just came back from the fucking moon. It's beautiful up there." They're like, "Oh really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I just like to lie. And then But I let my friends tell my stats, and it's just become a habit.
Okay, now I'm sorry, I'm about to call some BS on this.
Okay.
It's not like if you don't tell them your weight class, they can't think you lying. Like if we just walking and I don't look at your ears and I don't watch all your fights, you'd be like, yeah, I'm the champion of the world. I'd be like, at what?
Yeah.
Like champion gymnast?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be far-fetched for someone to not believe you.
I agree, and I'm okay with that.
Are you still like 130 pounds?
No, I'm like 148 right now.
Oh, you swole.
I'm trying to put that weight on, baby. I'm trying to put that weight on. Yeah, no, not 125. When I was in my career, everybody wants to be the bigger man in the division, right? So everybody's trying to cut down. For me, when I fought at 135 for the world title, I was coming home weighing 138. And then those guys were coming.
That was Dominic, right?
Dominic Cruz,
Yeah.
yes. Dominic Cruz, big boy, not very stout, but he's tall. Long arms. Motherfucker had me down, and I was like trying to kick his shit out, and I was like, can't even get that motherfucker. So when they brought up the 125, I was starting to fight guys who were 5'3", 5'4", more my height, more my size. But now, 2026, these motherfuckers 5'11", 125.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy how much bigger they got. But yeah, it's not far-fetched.
How old were you when you met your wife?
I was 18.
18?
19.
How'd you shoot your shot? 'Cause at that point, at that point, you wasn't Demetrious Johnson, this guy. You were out community college working jobs and stuff.
Yeah. I don't think I had game, but I was a straight shooter, right? I worked at Red Lobster, and when I was there, what's up? Why are you laughing about Red Lobster?
That's the start of it. I worked at Red Lobster. Little biscuits.
Yeah. I was working at Red Lobster. I was fighting at the time as an amateur, and she was working there as well. We're both dating somebody separate. And we would talk to each other about our relationship, this is going on for her. I was the athlete coordinator, which means when you come to Red Lobster, you get all you can eat shrimp. Right? You get your popcorn shrimp. You gotta have 20 popcorn shrimp on the goddamn plate, and you gotta have your butter. You gotta have your knife with the fork in it. I gotta make sure your plate looks presentable when it goes to you. And so she was a server. She would come and look at it. And I'm like, here you go, and she'll take it out. And so I would, say, booty, 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 walking everywhere. And then she'd be like, oompa, do booty. I was like, ah. So we'll just shoot the shit the whole time. But eventually, I was about to leave the restaurant. I was gonna go to Journeys to pursue a different career. And I gave my number. I was like, hey, you're awesome. I wasn't with my girlfriend at the time, so she was my ex. But I said, hey, you're awesome. Love to hang out with you. Here's my number. Call me. She called me that night, and she never left. She called me that night, and then we hung out, and it was a great time.
Moral to the story, fellas. If your old lady got a work boyfriend, watch him. Cause that's basically what he said,
He's all jokes.
She was my work girlfriend.
Jokes till it wasn't jokes.
I'm gonna throw the booty rocking everywhere. And now, based on how she react, I know when I leave here, I'm gonna slide on my number. Yeah, you gotta watch the work boyfriend, dog.
That's true. But no, you've also said that she was the best thing to ever happen. So within that statement, what part of it confirms that?
It's almost like sometimes when I'm with her, I'm like fucking 6'7". I just feel unstoppable. When we first got together, we're babies, right? So we kind of grew up together. But I think it was her positivity, it was her attitude towards life. She was a hustler. There's a time when I was training and I didn't have a job. She had 3 jobs, and there was time when she wasn't, she didn't have jobs. I had jobs. We were just so
great team.
A great team, and we were we're gonna be cycle breakers, because she comes from a family where, multiple divorces, different brothers and sisters from different mother, same dad, and then same thing for me. I had from my mom's side, I had 4 different brothers, siblings, all different dads. And then on my dad's side, I had 2. So a lot of divorce rate in that time era. And me and her, I was like, I'm gonna get married once and only fucking once. I'm not gonna be going see my kids, I'm not doing that shit. And so we dated for 5 years. I was like, could we have gotten married and had kids right off the jump? Absolutely. But we're we're gonna do this right. So we dated for 5 years. And, obviously every relationship has its ups and downs, but we were able to work through them and have a conversation. But just being my best friend, being the best fucking team. And I always tell her, I hate, now I'm removed from my sport, I hate that it's always about me, right? I don't like that. I want her, she's a person too. I'm not successful unless she is with me. I'm nothing without her, essentially, right? Like, I have all these amazing businesses going on, but if she's not at home, take care of, you know, the children, the house, when I come home to get ready for my fights, you know, when I was traveling and she goes, hey, what do you need, right? I'm 126, I'm like, I need X, Y, Z, I got it. No questions asked, right? So that's why, and then the life side of it, like being brought into her family. You know, when I showed up to her house, her dad, you know, he's an amazing man. He just turned 70, fucking amazing, like absolutely amazing. I remember the first time I showed up, I came in with my Honda Civic, I was like, ha. Only black guy at the house, right? It was like a barbecue. And so he looks at my rims, he's like, your treads off your rim, boy. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine now. I didn't know if I was accepted, but like just being brought into her family and the way she sees life, it just really opened my mind to everything. And even to this day, like I talked to her, like, you know, we're on this trip together and I'm sitting here and I'm working on projects and I was like, but what do you think about this? She goes, well, I think you should do this. There'll be times I'm on a business call, I was like, I don't know why the fuck he's saying that, da-da-da-da-da-da. And this thing goes, baby, you gotta look at it a different perspective. And I'm like, oh, okay, baby, okay. I got on a business call again, I was like, okay, tell me your side of it. And she goes, relax. And I'm like, okay, good. So she's my whole world.
5 minutes with y'all the other night when I got to meet you. I was obviously extremely excited. 5 minutes, I could see the relationship. I could see how she's a foundational piece of not only what you think and what you feel, but what those actions mean for you and the perceptions that it could create. And I just thought it was really dope to have that conversation with y'all really quick about what we talked about. And to hear us say, yeah, I wouldn't do that. Or, yeah, we've learned this. And everything was, we learned this. And we now know this. So you could definitely see the synergy between you two, man. And when you have a teammate like that, Shannon talks about it all the time, when you have a teammate like that, it does bring the best out in you. And you do want them to be recognized for the parts of your success that are also theirs, man. So I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. And sometimes when we go, we travel, and I'm like, you are the logistic coordinator. Like, this shit does not, like, when, you know, we're out here, she booked a hotel, she booked the podcast spot where we do our stuff, she booked all of that shit. Like, when I was in charge of that, let me tell you a funny story. I was like, we're going to the UK, I'm about to do a seminar, I'm gonna make some good money. And she goes, you got it all set? I was like, got this shit set. We land in the UK, we land in southern UK, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go, before we get there, she was like, babe, where's your seminar? I was like, oh, here's the address. She goes, you know that's like 6 hours north, right? And I'm like, you fucking lying. She goes, look at this. Where we're staying in the middle of the UK. I was going all the way up to Keighley, and I had all my luggage. I had a 70-pound case, and then I had my training bag, then I had my backpack. And then she goes, from now on, I'm taking over the logistics. So now it's been smooth sailing. You know, I got a trip going to Montreal. She goes, here's your stuff, da-da-da-da. It's like, you need to hold your head high. Like, you're running a successful, you're running my business successfully, right? Not a lot of women can do, and not just that, but also the kids, the homeschool. She handles that shit. When it's Christmas, I just show up, right? I just,
you be just as surprised as the kids.
Damn,
that's cool.
Yeah, right? That takes a lot, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. Like, if I had decorated the house, it would just be like, all right, guys, there's a fucking couch there, and a couch there. There's TV, enjoy, like, and I think, I tell her all the time, I was like, this wouldn't happen if it was for you, so.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. My wife does so much that you gotta appreciate that, you know, it's not monetized.
Yeah.
But you have to appreciate what's going on. She can't like them ears.
I think she does.
No.
Baby, you like my ears? Yeah.
But she can't like them, bro. Them ears.
She loves my ears, but she don't like my feet. Okay, she don't like my feet because when you're on the mat the whole time, you get all this not fungus. It is a fungus, but my feet are ashy as hell. Just my left one, but not my right one. Looks great. My left one, she goes, I love you head to ankle, baby. I do not like your feet. So I think my ears are good. The feet, not so much. I'm working on them though. I'm trying to keep them all, you know, oiled up and everything.
You were part of one of the worst trades of all time.
That was the greatest trade of all time.
This was like what the Minnesota Vikings got when they got Herschel Walker and they gave Dallas all them picks, right? And God bless him, you know, for Ben Askren, man. I hope you're healing.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're great.
I hope you're healthy. But, and this is me, outside perception looking in. There weren't a lot of African American and haven't been a lot of African American UFC champions.
Yep.
You know, we had DC, you know, we had John, but, you know, even Izzy, Kamaru, Francis, like all of those guys aren't from America.
Yeah.
Right? And so when we see people like you, it's like, oh, we could connect to that. And so you immediately start to cheer.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, damn, like, why when Dana talk about him, he talks about him in this way? You would think somebody that's that damn good at this job would be treated in a different way. And then it felt, this is me, you don't have to say this, it felt like they were waiting for somebody to beat you.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if he's still the champion, it's hard to do this. We can't vacate the belt, do this. But soon as, I love you, Henry, soon as Henry Cejudo beat you, right, you were gone. Was it difficult, your stint as champion of the UFC, and feeling like you were not respected?
Oh, 1,000%. Like there's, obviously it's no secret. I've always been outspoken about it, but I think the biggest thing with that, it just drives me crazy where when you look at the best running back in the NFL, he's gonna get paid, right? You look at the best basketball player in the NBA, he's gonna get paid, right? Obviously there's more a structure of a union where it's okay, that's who you're gonna get, but in mixed martial arts, you know, that's not necessarily the case. Right? And that's why I always had a big chip on my shoulder where like, make it make sense. I'm like, I want my 8th consecutive title defense and this guy comes in and he gets a $500,000 paycheck, like make that make sense. And then it's almost like, well, you don't generate business for us. You don't generate money for us. I'm like, okay, well, what can we do? Like, you know, I remember never forget when I was about to fight Henry Cejudo, I think it was the first time, we did a sick commercial. I shot for 3 hours. 3 hours. Never saw the footage to this day. And I was like, why don't you guys put that footage? Oh, this guy got hurt. I don't give a fuck. I'm still fighting. We still fighting. Right. Play that fucking footage. Like, what's the problem? And that just drove me insane. I think also me being 5'3", 125, I think it doesn't appeal to the masses, but now it does because I have done competition against people who are 248 pounds and I've beaten them. Where it's like, just because you're bigger than me doesn't mean you can beat me. Now, if you're bigger than me and you're also skilled as me, then yes, I'm gonna struggle and I might lose. And I still might lose to someone who's bigger than me, but if you are not skilled, I'm pretty much gonna have my way with you when it comes to like the fighting and grappling and, you know, obviously I take a big blow, I'm gonna have to recover, but I've shown that I can do that. So now that's why I think my popularity has gotten bigger. But when that trade came about, it was the best thing that ever happened in my
How did the trade, how does a trade from one organization to another organization happen? You like John Gruden when he went to the damn Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I think you said it. They were waiting for me to lose because obviously I was there for so long that they wanted a new face in the division, right? And so when I lost, I was like, man, like, I wonder if I can get out of my contract. And I presented it to my management, and I'm like, yeah, we'll try to make it happen. And, you know, back and forth between UFC and, you know, my management, eventually I got my walking papers, and they also wanted Ben Askren. At the time, Ben Askren was undefeated.
Yep.
He was retired. He talks a lot on Twitter, like, oh, this guy sucks, da-da-da-da. So it was like, okay, well, we could trade Demetrious Johnson to one championship for one of the retired fighters. Yeah, let's do it. Like, obviously, this workhorse hasn't produced anything for us. Now, don't get me wrong, I produced some badass fights in the UFC, knockouts, Mighty Whiz Bar, all that stuff. But for them, they don't care about having the best fighters in the world. It's the fucking truth. Like, could you imagine? It's like, okay, well, you know what? You know, Jackson Smith-Njigma, let's say he wins a Super Bowl. They're like, you know what? We just go ahead and cut you. Don't worry about fuck. Get out. They just cut him, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody like, why are you cutting the best fucking wide receiver in the league right now? Yeah. We don't care about that. That's what the UFC does. Like, they'll cut people who are way better on the roster. Like, for example, there was a fight over in Abu Dhabi somewhere. One of the guys, Marcus Buchecha, great 15-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, all these accolades. He fights another guy, I don't even know the other guy's name. Marcus loses to that guy. They cut the guy who fucking won. I was like, that doesn't make sense. So get back on the context. So they were willing to trade me for Ben Askren because Ben Askren was gonna bring way more noise. And then once they did that, I won championship. He came to UFC. I think he won 1 or 2 fights and
fought Jorge
Masvidal. But then you see people like, oh, they lost in our trade. I was like, I don't think they did because when they got Ben, that's the rise of Jorge Masvidal. Boom, knocks him out. Oh, stiff, right? Then after that, you have Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman was great, amazing champion, right?
Yeah, he did the show, yeah.
Then next thing you know, Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal knocks him out, right? Because they're going back and forth and da-da-da-da. Then the rise of Kamaru Usman. Then you have Colby Covington. The Colby Covington's running his mouth. Kamaru Usman fucks him up, right? And so then you go, mixed martial arts is a very vicious sport. You're gonna get yours. It's just a matter of time. And then for me, I won a championship. I went over there, did amazing things, won a World Grand Prix, got knocked out. Then I beat Rodtang. Then I had that beautiful knockout when I hit that flying knee. But then when people look at it as a aspect of like, who's the better fighter? Yeah, 1000%, I'm a way better fighter because my skill set's way better, right? So
that laugh scared me a little bit.
Yeah, what's that?
Your
It's the
laugh
laugh
scared
of
me
a
little
demented
bit.
human, you know, like to do what this dude do, like you gotta be sick in the
That's the
head.
grab me. That's the
a
grab
little
me
bit,
laugh.
a little bit. So, but yeah, it was a trade, and I'm so grateful it happened because it changed my life.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to draw parallels to our sport, and the closest thing I can come to is Barry Sanders, right? Stature and what the Lions organization, how they devalued Barry. They didn't do enough to put pieces around him, so he eventually retired, and for a while it was a mystery, right? And looking at you, I would say the UFC did the same thing.
Yeah.
What was that that moment you knew it was time to shut it down?
Oh, to retire fighting?
Yeah, retire.
Retired.
Oh,
38.
retire fighting. Okay, gotcha. Well, the UFC, to answer that question, after I lost the fight, I was like, get the fuck out of here, because if I was to come back and sign another contract with the UFC, when you're a champion, you're making, and this is pennies to your guys' world, but when you become champion at that time, even at this time, it's still maybe the same, but they just had a new deal. You're making $350 flat, so $350,000 flat. If you win, you go up every $10,000, so $360, $370, $380. And then when I lost at that time at $380, your pay gets cut significantly in half. Just like,
Really?
Oh, fuck yeah. Like you might make $380, next time you show up, do the exact same fucking job, you gonna make maybe $125 and $50. It just changed. So when I got the opportunity to go to one, there was like, hey, we gonna take care of you. I was like, bet. So I went over there. But when it came a point in time when I was ready to retire, after I won my trilogy match against Adriano,
Let's say you won, yeah.
yeah, I was like, fuck, man. I was like, is this all my life is? It's just fight, go home, chill with the kids. I love that part. That part's amazing. But come, another interview, same thing over and over and over again. I was like, there's got to be more to life than just this. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to put some weight on. I'm gonna give myself a year to focus on what I wanna do after that. And yeah, that was it. It was like, there's time to get out. And I think a lot of people in our sport of mixed martial arts, they never get out on top, right? Like GSP did, Habib did. John Jones is still in it, but with him still being in it, everybody's like, oh, he's ducking Tom Aspinall. There's all these things going on. For me, it's like I have other things in my life that fulfill my cup.
You mentioned those names. It was this weekend, actually. Volk
Yep,
put you in this top four. I think it was 3 or 4 fighters this weekend. They were asking who the top 4 favorite fighters were, or best fighters of all time, and it was John, it was GSP, it was Mighty Mouse, it was Habib, like all of those guys. And that was the UFC. They weren't asking mixed martial arts of all time. Do you truly consider yourself as part of the top 4 or 5 fighters that's ever fought in the UFC? And if not, or even if, who would also be included in that conversation?
Well, you remember we don't talk about our own stats now, right? So I'll remove myself. But for flyweights, 1,000%.
Greatest of all time.
Yeah. I haven't seen another flyweight do what I've been able to do and have the IQ that I have. Yes, I've gotten knocked out, but the longer you're in this sport, it's gonna happen, right? But I will say inside of MMA, in the UFC, or just all around, for me, I like to see IQ, right? I just like to see, I can see guys go back and forth. You having a fucking slugfest, you get dropped, you drop him, no. Obviously, I'm a big fan of him. The way he's able to move, his swagger, the way he carries himself outside of the octagon. John Jones, even though I have my, little ticks about him, you cannot take away what he's been able to achieve inside mixed martial arts. Daniel Cormier, and that's the thing people don't realize. Daniel Cormier came late in the game. He wasn't.
He's in his 30s already.
He was not fucking like 29 years old fighting John Jones. Yep. Could you imagine a 29-year-old Daniel Cormier fighting a 29-year-old John Jones? That would be a great fight. Yeah. Habib, obviously, you have Islam Makhachev, you have Ilia Topuria, where I'm very high on him right now.
He's a monster.
He's a monster. He's very strategic with how he goes about it. He knows where he needs to be in a fight. He crosses the void when he needs to, and he throws in combination. He goes, bop, 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 bop. And I wasn't this good, like, when I was active, I got better when I stopped fighting. Because you look at the sport totally, I'm sure you guys watch football, he could have did this, X, Y, and Z. So people don't realize, like, when you're on your feet, it's pop, 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 pop. It's that the rhythm change and the cadence, he's very good about doing that. So there's a lot of great athletes. Charles Oliveira, I mean, and if you go back in the old days.
Max, man, I love Max.
Yeah, Max Holloway, he's great. You know, Max, and I always tell people, I just want a little grappling. Grapple, motherfucker. It's almost like if you're a wide receiver, you're gonna run your routes like this. Not go, and like, not use your, it's like, that's how I look at
How much of that thought process though, right? Because you mentioned Max, and you talked about even like Ilya, there's so much strategy that goes on, but he also has one punch knockout power.
Yes.
Right? And watching your fights, it was so highly skilled, right? And you, in my opinion, greatest submission of all time, right? But you could submit, right? You could fight, it was combinations, but it wasn't always the most violent fight.
Yeah.
You didn't take punishment.
No.
People like that.
Yeah,
How
they do.
how much of you not being willing to brawl kept you from being one of the favorites of the UFC higher up?
It kept me very high because I would always use my IQ when I fight. It is a violent sport, but you know, the name of the game is hit, not to be hit, right? Like Floyd Mayweather, when he would fight, people criticize him how his defense was so masterful, how he would move, how his fights are boring, but it's like, he's not in there to have a competition where let's beat each other up. Like when I watch fighting and two guys are beating each other up, I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Like even when there's the first time I fought at 125, me and Ian McCall had a war going back and forth. And I got done, I was like, oh man, that was dope. My coach goes, that was the stupidest fucking thing I ever saw in my life. He goes, that was stupid as shit. I was like, what you talking about, man? We're going back and forth throwing high kick, man. We got $50,000 bonus. What you talking about? He goes, do you want to have a long career or do you want to have a short career? Do you want to have a career after you're done fighting? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, you have the skill set and the ability to flow through martial arts with ease. They can't. You can pop, 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 and move, pop, 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 and hit and wrestle and clinch and all. You can do that. They fucking can't. So when I sit there, and my coaches always put that in me, and so when I sit there and I watch people fight and they don't do that, I feel like they're not expressing the best version of martial arts. That's just, and they might say, oh, you're talking shit, you think you could, blah, blah, blah. When you're being raised, when you're 18, all the way you're 37 years old, from one man who's like probably the biggest father figure of my life, Matt, what product do you think is gonna happen, right? It's like, that's just how I see it.
And bro, you bring up Floyd, who was like you're saying, top 3 boxer, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
My favorite
to
ever do it. And you talk about the showmanship of it, where you have to sell yourself.
Yeah.
Do you look back, did you sell yourself enough? Did you get in enough fights? Did you mush people in the face at weigh-ins?
Yeah.
The stuff that would actually sell you, because you can get in the ring and whoop somebody's ass, but you have to sell tickets to do that.
1000%. So did I sell myself enough? No, because I felt my fighting would do that, right? You know, where I come from, you don't talk shit, because you get your ass beat, right? That's you just didn't do it. So I didn't grow up doing that. And so when I got to that point in my career, I was so focused on breaking Anderson Silva's record, which was 10 consecutive title defenses. I don't have time to be trying to sell myself. I'm in the gym, focused on my craft. You even hear Conor McGregor say it. It took a lot out of him. Like, oh, you're in the fucking jungle with balloons in the hand, throwing up gang signs with his hand. That takes energy. Even Ronda Rousey says it. It takes energy. While they were focused on that, you know, and I'm not saying they weren't focused on their craft, but for me, I was so focused on winning my fights and always evolving as a professional athlete. And so when I look back at my career, should I have talked more? No, I think I should have been more open about my personality, who I am now. But once again, I just think that I wasn't in a position to show like, okay, I'm gonna grapple someone who's 248 pounds, right? I beat them. If I would have did that in the beginning of my career, people were like, even though he's small, he's gonna fuck you up, right? Yeah. But I don't regret anything different in my career because it made me more popular now because they're like, dude, you mistreated this guy when he was literally, it wasn't like, I can understand if I showed up and I had some boring ass fights. I can understand that, right? But I mean, submission of the night, knockout of the night, fight of the night, Mighty Wizbar, knocked out, I mean, I was put on banger fights. Henry Cejudo knocked him out in the first round, right? Joseph Benavidez knocked him out in the first round. I mean, I can understand that. There's people who've done way fucking worse performances in their career in mixed martial arts and made more money than me. That does not make fucking sense at all. So.
DJ, you're a tough dude, man, but I do want to know because I'm going to bring it back around. What did fatherhood teach you about yourself? And what would you want your kids to learn most about your journey?
Yeah, I think fatherhood's interesting. You know, it's almost like I get my own playbook because I have a father figure. It's an interesting journey. Like my dad says, they don't come in handbooks. Like, how do you raise a child in today's society with social media, with all the distractions? It's very hard and I'm still navigating it, but it makes me feel that I just want them to be successful at whatever they do, right? I think society puts a lot of pressure on, like, you gotta get your homework done. I don't know who it was. I feel like it could have been one of you guys, I'm not sure, but somebody's like, don't wake your kids up, let them sleep. You ain't gotta wake them up, you gotta get up. And there's a part of me where our society is so fixated on putting our kids in that rat race. Right? Like, you gotta get up, you gotta da-da-da, sit at a desk like this for, 6 hours, da-da-da. It's like, learn about the 1900s. It's like, they don't need to know about that. I don't know anything about the fucking 1900s, right? Do you?
No.
Right? Like, I don't know how to do fractions, right?
I know how to do fractions.
I ain't gonna fucking lie.
I'm not gonna let you put me in that boat. I'm not gonna let you do me that.
I know the common denominator.
I'm not gonna let you do me that.
I know PEMDAS, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I know that, right? But how powerful do they need to know that, right? Like, yeah, he's 12 years old, so I do think he needs to know about, interest rates. I think the more he is empowered with true knowledge, that's gonna, I was on a business trip one time, this guy, he was like 25 years old, and he goes, dude, I don't even have fucking health insurance. I'm like, how the fuck you don't have health insurance? That blew my mind, right? And he's a successful streamer, and he's like, I don't have health insurance. I'm like, wow. That's amazing that you don't know about health insurance. So I sit here and I think, like, how can I prepare my children for when they become young adults? And that's been like a struggle. Like, me and my buddy all the time, we'll hang out. And I'm like, damn, sometimes you ever think your kids aren't gonna be successful? Like, could you imagine, like, are they gonna have a successful marriage? Are they gonna have a successful job? Are they gonna understand the rat race? Because everybody has to go through it, right? But they don't wanna get trapped in it. That's probably the biggest struggle I have as a father right now with my children.
You talked a little bit about your upbringing, and we didn't dive into it in that manner. How have you been able to try to get your kids to connect to your culture?
Ooh.
Because when you don't have a family,
Yeah.
like you didn't,
Yep.
and now you've ingratiated yourself into your wife's family, like
Yep.
you said,
Yeah.
I was the only black dude at the cookout.
Absolutely.
Right? You actually called it a barbecue. That's how I know you was the only black dude there.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So that's how,
Burgers and dogs.
yeah. That's how I already know.
No pork and beans, no collard greens, no chitlins.
Yeah. You already know what they had on the grill. But how difficult has it been, I guess, to indoctrinate them into your culture as well and where you come from when you are separated from it in the way that you are?
Football helped because I did grow up like from when I was a kid all the way till 18, even a little bit after 18, I still hang out with the same people, not all of them, but my culture, I still see them all the time. Yeah. And so, but when they do go to play football, when they first started playing football, because my kids started jiu-jitsu, right? Jiu-jitsu is more of a respectful sport, right? You bow, shake hands, we grapple, I armbar you, you tap, oh, hey, good match, right? When you go to the other side of sports, like football, okay, you ready? You can't fucking catch. You got greasy ass hands. And then, another kid at school called my middle son the N-word. He goes, man, what's up there? And he goes, what did he just call me? And then my oldest son, Tyron, goes, oh man, he's recognized you as one of his own. And so he's more into understanding the culture that he comes from. But then when we go to my dad's house, and then when we go to Uncle E's house, or we go to Blacklitt's house or Bebe's house, they're immersed in that culture. But it's something that, they have to see. And culture is always different, meaning that I am black, but when I go to New York, I am not black. They're like, you're not black. Like, look the way you dance. Look the way you fucking dress. It's like, there's different cultures inside the culture, I feel like. Yeah. And they point them out. I went to I went to a Men's Warehouse to get a suit, and there was this tall, young black gentleman. He goes, "You are not black." And I was like, "What the fuck you mean I'm not black?" He goes, "Look at your nose. Look at your cheekbones. You don't have black features." And I was like, "Well, guess what? I'm black." He goes, "Huh, thought you were Portuguese or Brazilian or Mexican." I'm like, all right. Well, you know, so when I grew up, you know, I would wake up, mom would be cooking chitlins, smell like shit, and then she would be bumping music, 808, you know, just a big, like, fucking speaker this big, and to have the wood grain dash on the back with the fucking thing, and then she'll have the windows open, busting, you know, Q93 California. Like, I would come home from school, when I come down the road, I can smell the chitlins. I'm like, oh, it's just, like, I grew up in that, and so I try to sprinkle a little bit of that in my kids, but it's not that culture. They go to, when I go to Maryland and Virginia, it's a totally different culture that I'm not used to, because it's just in a different part of the world.
What was the N-word conversation?
Oh, he goes, "What's up, nigga?" That was it.
No, say, what was the conversation? No, say, what was the conversation with your son? Because it is a conversation. But like, because it was obviously a black kid that said it, but you're taught that that's not a word you use.
Yes.
Right, and so, you know, I know he was probably like, wait, you can't call me that, or that can't. What was the conversation of your older son when you said, T was like, hey, look, it's cool. He ain't really saying it like that.
Yeah. We're always transparent with our children. Always transparent, right? Like, we don't hide anything. We tell them how the world is. And I'll elaborate more on that too. But Tyron told me, was like, dude, he just sees you as on your own. And Maverick, and then when you're playing football, when you're in the sport, right? When I grew up, you were talking shit the whole time. When my wife grew up, they didn't talk shit like that, right? So when they're playing sports, it's about respect. But when you're playing football and somebody says, you got butter hands, you can't catch, man, you slow, you can't lift that. My kids, they had to get conditioned to like, dude, that's just how you talk in the hood. That's just what you do. So they're getting immersed in that with football right now, because you're playing against kids who are coming from the hood where we lived, and we live in a very privileged area, right? And so they don't have to go through that adversity that I had to go through or my wife had to go through. But back on the context of being transparent, when my son, he was very, very intelligent as a young kid, and Alexa would move the screen like that, right? You have Alexa, and it'll always say the news. And one day my son we're in the kitchen chilling, and it says, U.S. Navy or U.S. military stops ship sex trafficking children. And my son goes, yo, Dad. He's like maybe 10. He goes, what's sex trafficking? I was like, oh.
Gotta explain it.
Well, let me tell you. And I told him straight up. I was like, there's people out there who exploit young children and women on, you know, sex trafficking and exploit them through sexual pleasure, whatever they want to do. And he goes, why would they do that? And I was like, because we live in a fucking sick world. There's people out there who are sick.
Absolutely evil.
Yeah, and I think that's the best way you can, you know, be honest with the kid, because once you start lying to them, then when they uncover the truth, then it's like, why would you lie to me, right? It's like, same thing with my mom. It's like, why keep all these things from me from my dad, when she could have just told me like, hey, like, this is what happened with me and your dad, right? Like, I was cheating, I was doing X, Y, and Z, and, you know, he had to go to orders to Germany, and he was gonna take me with him, and so, but yeah, I'm always transparent with my kids, and yeah, it's been good.
The biggest pivot in life. That's that one moment you can look back on and say, because this happened to me or for me, I am who I am today.
Oh, man. The girlfriend I was with when I first met my wife, Destiny, I was like, okay, I broke with her, I started dating her, right? And then this didn't call me back. And I was like, oh, God, there's still something there. Let me go find out, right? So I told her, and I was like, hey, like, I fuck with you. I like you a lot, but I feel if I'm gonna have to pursue this, I gotta close this door. Because if I keep on, you know, dating you, and I have second thoughts on her, that I don't think I can fully commit to you. So I went back to her, right? It was, honestly, you can look at it as the best decision of my life. The reason why is because I knew she wasn't the one. I knew she was not the one.
It's fair.
Yeah.
What'd you say when you went back to Destiny?
Her? I said, I fucked up. I said, I fucked up. I'll take as much time. You take as much time. When you let me know when you're ready. And she goes, and she told me too, we're in college. She turned around, she goes, you made the biggest mistake in your fucking life. And I was like, and I looked down, I was like, you know what, you might be right. But for me to figure out if this is real, I gotta go close that fucking door. And I closed that door. And I went to her and I said, hey, I fucked up. You let me know when you're ready. And then that was the biggest pivot.
How long it took till she was ready?
Before I close that, I mean, it was probably like a week, maybe.
For Destiny to be like, okay, we good, we just dating.
How long it take, baby?
It was like 2 months.
2 months, yeah. I thought he meant like when I was with her.
Tighten his ass up, Destiny.
I have a question about forgiveness.
Yeah.
Right? When you explain your upbringing with your mother,
Yep.
Whether it was the lies or not being present for certain things, there's a level of abuse I would have to, and I'm only guessing, I would have to assume you feel like you had to endure because she wasn't there, because I'm with my stepdad, because you're clubbing and doing these things. How were you able to forgive the things of your past so you can be in this place now to give so much of yourself to your family?
It was a lot. You know, my wife helped me through that. And I think the biggest thing with that is, it's hard because I look at like, what was her upbringing, right? I can't pass judgment on her because what was she going through? What was she battling? And losing my sister, I saw how that affected my mom. And then my brother getting schizophrenia and bipolar, she's still taking care of him. Like, you just have to take a step back and just feel like, you know, you just have to forgive. Like, it was the hardest thing for me to do, but when I would be like, man, how come she doesn't want to be, these are the only grandchildren she's ever gonna get. There are no other children. My older brother, he got a vasectomy. He's not around. My sister passed away. My brother, he ain't having no kids. These are the only fucking grandbabies she's ever gonna get. This is a part of life that she will never be able to partake in because she chooses not to. And that was very hard for me I would always hang on. She's gonna come around, she's gonna come around, she's gonna come around. And my wife was amazing. Like, you know what? Herself internally knew she wasn't gonna come around, but she would always give me hope and support me that she might come around. But eventually she was like, you have to see on your own that she's never gonna change. And I had to forgive her for that. She made those choices. And, you know, once I was able to do that, my life is so much better. I don't have so much anger, resentment, or like, you know, but the one thing I will always question myself is like, could I have been a better son and reached out more? Even though I have, but you're always gonna say, could I have done more? Could I have done more? Yeah. And when that happens, I'll see how I navigate that road.
Yeah. Well, man, you've done so much for so many mixed martial arts fans, whether it's UFC, one championship, bro, who you have been as a fighter, but also, man, getting an opportunity to talk to you as a man, bro. I really enjoyed it. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, dog. Sure. Hey,
Thanks,
you see how fast his hands was moving, though, when he was...
Hey, bro.
Every time he was talking about fight, he was like, yeah, you know, so I was...
Hold up, limitless, niggas to me, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On this vision, I can trust. Limitless, niggas to me, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up.